Hi, welcome to Learning Monkey. I am Raghu here. In this class, we will discuss about operator precedence parsing example. The discussion about operator precedence parsing is done in our previous class. Please watch that class and come back here. Otherwise, you don't understand this example. This is just for practice purpose. This is very complex example. For better understanding, we are using this example. Coming to the example, operator precedence parsing example, this is the grammar which we are taking. E tends to E plus E, E star E, bracket E, ID, E cap E means exponential, E power E. So this is the grammar which we are taking. We need to generate the operator precedence parsing table based on this. And in our last class, we clearly discussed that how we generate the table according to our requirements in our programming language. What type of expressions we need to accept, what type of expressions we are not allowed to accept. Based on that, we have to design our table. So according to our requirements, according to our expression requirements, cap is having the highest precedence, exponential is having the highest precedence, star is having the next highest, plus is having the least precedence. Cap is doing the right associative. This is what we follow in our C language. Star is taking the left associative, plus is taking the left associative. And we already discussed in our last class, ID will be given the highest precedence and dollar will be given the least precedence. But one more thing you have to understand, brackets is there. So how we fill the precedence table? We will show you few examples. According to that, you have to fill the remaining parsing table. For practice purpose, we will show you two examples for understanding. Based on that, you have to fill the remaining parsing table. That's the best practice. We'll show you the table and we'll do some example also, but the best practice is you do it on your own. So examples to understand construction of parsing table. Let's assume that in our programming language, this is how we need expressions. Brackets, ID plus ID, bracket close. If you want to evaluate this expression is correct or not. So this is accepted in our programming language. So what we do? So we are going to shift and reduce actions has been done. So what shift and reduce actions? Shift, when we are going to shift, so we are checking for a stack symbol and we are checking for input symbol, input operator. If stack symbol operator is less than or equal to input symbol operator, we are shifting that. If it is greater than, we are reducing it. These conditions we discussed previously. Based on these conditions in your mind, you have to fill the precedence table. So assume that if you encounter the symbols open brackets comma ID, open bracket is in the stack symbol, ID is in the input symbol, what action you have to do? So in our requirement, open bracket ID, assume that open bracket already shifted onto the stack, the next encountered symbol in the input is ID. So what action we have to do in our expression? Open bracket ID. Whenever you see open bracket, whatever the expression present in the open bracket till the closed bracket, that expression should be evaluated first. If you want to evaluate it first means you have to shift ID onto the stack. That's why in our parse table, open bracket ID, what action you have to do? Shift action means less than symbol, less than relation symbol in our operator precedence table. So that is how you have to check step by step what way you need and what type of expressions you are going to accept. Based on that, you have to design the table. This is one of the example. Let's check one more example. ID plus open bracket, ID plus ID closed bracket. If you want to accept this expression, you want to shift into the stack and we need to do some reduce actions. Assume that at the last we are going to find ID comma open bracket. ID is in the stack symbol. In the stack symbol, open bracket. See here. Suppose if you want to do this expression, if this is the valid expression in our programming language. See, if you see ID comma open bracket, ID is in the stack symbol, open bracket is in the input symbol. Is it possible? When it is going to possible? id open bracket id plus id. Is this expression valid? No. According to our programming language, this expression is not valid. If someone has written expression like this, what you have to do? You have to show mistake. In our parsing table, if you see the stack symbol is id and the input symbol is open bracket, we need to make it as blank symbol. Blank means there is a mistake. So id followed by compulsory, you should have some plus or operators. After id, if you see bracket, means expression is a mistake. So this is one more situation. Let's try to understand another situation also. Plus closed bracket. Whenever you see plus, means stack symbol is plus and input symbol is closed bracket. Let's see this example. Open bracket, closed bracket, id plus id plus id. When you are parsing this, we will shift onto the stack, we will shift onto the stack, we will shift onto the stack, shift onto the stack, shift onto the stack, and we are going to reduce this into e plus e plus e. This is how we are doing. We are shifting onto the stack and we are converting this. Whenever you see open bracket e plus e plus e, this closed, assume that this closed bracket is in the input symbol. Input. All these symbols are on the stack. You are going to encounter plus and open closed bracket, plus and closed bracket. If you have the previous example in your mind, then only you will understand this. If this plus is in the stack symbol and this closed brackets is in the input symbol, what actions you have to do? So whenever you have open bracket and some expression, before seeing closed bracket, you have to reduce this equation. Expression should be reduced because our expression says e tends to open bracket closed bracket e. You have to get back your expression till e, means you need to do reduce action. That is how our grammar says. So based on that, what action you have to do? If you see plus in our stack symbol and open bracket in our input symbol, you need to reduce this action, reduce this expression. So if you want to do reduce action, plus open bracket should have the greater than relation. That is how we have to identify all the conditions, and finally this is the table we are going to get for our expressions evaluation. Step by step. Plus closed bracket. Why we have written greater than symbol here? Because our expressions should be evaluated first before it sees closed bracket. It should be, the expression should be evaluated. It should be reduced down to e. That is how this parsing table has been generated. Based on this parsing table, we can evaluate the expressions. It's very simple. The example which we already discussed, not this example, in our last class we already discussed about the examples. So we are taking some complex example. Input is open bracket id plus id closed bracket. At last we are going to add dollar symbol, dollar open bracket. What action you have to do? Dollar open bracket. Less than symbol means shift action has to be done. Open bracket, shift action. So based on this table has been generated. How you need to evaluate your expressions. So shift action. Open bracket id. So we need to shift action has to be done. That's why open bracket id should take less than symbol. Id plus. Id should be evaluated, reduce it to e first. That's why id plus will take greater than symbol. So our e tends to id. Id is reduced to e. We don't consider about non-terminals. Open brackets plus. Plus should be shifted. So less than symbol has been e plus. Plus id. Id has to be shifted. E plus id. Id closed bracket. Whenever you can encounter id closed bracket. Closed bracket means you need to reduce. This id should be reduced first. Then only closed bracket has to be considered. So that's why e tends to id. id is reduced to e. Id open brackets means greater than symbol. So e plus e before plus closed bracket. Before you take the closed bracket into the stack, first this expression should be reduced to e. That's why greater than symbol and reduce it to e. Now we are going to you are going to take open brackets, closed bracket. Both are having a equal priority. We need to do shift action. That's why in our table we have taken equality symbol. Open brackets and closed bracket, equality symbol. Same precedence, same relation having the equality. So now this open bracket is shifted inside. So this closed bracket is shifted inside. This first closed bracket is shifted inside. Here we are having one closed bracket, dollar symbol. So this before taking this open brackets, closed bracket should be reduced. That's why it is going to reduce to E tends to E, open brackets, closed brackets, E. Now we got open brackets, closed brackets. Again it is going to be like this, shifted. It is going to be shifted. Closed bracket, dollar, reduce it to E, dollar, dollar. Accepted. This is how operator precedence parsing works. So with this operator precedence parsing, we are going to have only we can make only a few types of grammars. Few logics can be possible using this operator precedence parsing. This is the disadvantages of operator precedence parsing. Hope you understand the concept of OPP. If you have any questions regarding the concept, please post your questions in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel and press bell icon for the latest updates. Thank you.